As we continue moving through solutions, we're going to look at three ways to make our solute dissolve faster in our solvent. So what can we do physically to make this happen? Well, the first thing is that we can agitate it. No, not make it upset and angry, but shake it and stir it. When we shake it and stir it, we can see that fresh solute is able to touch more of the solvent, or vice versa. Fresh solvent is able to touch more of the solute. Now, this only affects the rate of solubility. It wouldn't make something that is not soluble into something that is. And insoluble will always remain insoluble despite shaking it, like we see this image here, or stirring it down here. So if we see oil and water here, despite the amount of shaking and stirring, we won't make that oil mix with water. Now, it might look like it for a bit to pour it on our salad, like oil and vinegar, but ultimately, the oil is insoluble in water. Despite shaking or stirring it, it won't change that fact. Now, the second way is temperature. So way number two to affect the rate of solubility is increasing the temperature of the solvent. Now remember, our solvent, we're talking about a liquid or a dissolving medium. Our universal solvent is water. Now, the kinetic energy of that solvent is moving faster, which increases the frequency or the force of that solvent hitting the solute. Now, we can even see this graphically as a solubility curve. If we look at the curve here, as temperature increases, we see most of them become more soluble. There's only a few that we see going down, which would be HCl, we have NH3 and SO2, which all of those are covalent ones. So maybe there's a pattern there for it. So if we're looking at factor number two, if we increase the temperature of our solvent, we can dissolve more solute in it, or faster. So our third one is going to be particle size of the solute, that solid we've been talking about. If we make the surface area larger by crushing it into smaller pieces, we'll see that it increases the rate. So if we look at the rate of our crushed Alka-Seltzer versus our whole one, we would say that this one, we would see that this one would take more time. And the reason being is that when we look at this, it has to penetrate the top surface, dissolve that, then go on to the next one. If it's a powder, our solvent can hit more of it at once, which is very similar to the same reasoning of our temperature for it. So we would see that granular sugar would dissolve faster than sugar cubes for it, because if we look at the cube, it would have to touch each of the sides and then keep dissolving the outside going inside for it. So those are the three factors to make something dissolve faster. We had shaking and stirring, agitating it. Number two, we had increasing the temperature. And number three, increasing the surface area of the particle. So thanks for watching.